And I'm Billy. I'm here with my buddy Don. Hi, Don.
Hello.
And it is yet another week.
Sounds like Droopy
show.
Dog or whatever.
Yeah. You know what? I'm happy. So, how's everybody been doing? Send us an email at thedeadtimeradio@gmail.com or go to our website at thedeadtimeradioshow.com and click on the little button that says become a patron. That doesn't say drink Patron. It says become a patron.
But you can drink Patron and give us lots of money.
And listen to the show while you drink Patron.
Yes, and every time you laugh, just give us $30.
That is correct. That is correct. You are correct, sir.
You will be laughing.
Then you will make me happy. Today's show is all about the Bigfoot. Because we all like to talk about the Bigfoot. We're going to talk about a little bit about Bigfoot, but mainly focusing on Dawn has this theory that the government is in charge of Bigfoot, that they're covering up Bigfoot, and then it also links to the people disappearing in the national parks that we did a show on.
Right.
And she thinks they're some type of fucking bloodsuckers. So they're like chupacabra with big hairy feet.
No, I said the Nephilim, because the Nephilim are a mix of angel and man. So
right. We did a show on Bigfoot too earlier where we thought they were maybe alien hybrids.
Right.
Like aliens dropped them off.
Well, I was watching Expedition Bigfoot, and season 3, episode 6 or whatever, I texted you. And they were talking to a logger, and the logger went in to tag trees to clear out, and they found some dens, supposedly Bigfoot dens. The next day, the owner of the land, mysteriously, the government bought up all the land and ran them out, and then that was the end of that. So why is the government protecting Bigfoot? Are they Nephilim? Are they vampires? Because the missing people, like, they're just allowing them to eat people. So are they, like, just letting them willy-nilly?
Maybe the government created them.
Maybe they did.
In the lab.
Maybe they did.
Kind of like, you remember that, I don't know if we talked about it or not. There was this old Russian doctor that used to do these crazy experiments way, way back when it was still the Soviet Union. And he did things like, he took a dog's head and surgically implanted it on a human's body.
Okay.
Things like that. He was trying to create hybrid people. I think the Russian government finally got rid of his ass because he was bad. He was doing bad shit. But yeah, maybe it was the same thing. Maybe the government said, oh, we've created like the perfect killing machine.
Well, I mean, they have found hair and different evidence, the feet, and it is a primate, an unidentified primate. So why would it not be a primate that we have so many,
but we don't
millions
have
of
any
acres that
proof that it's a real primate. That's just all still speculation as well.
From the hair, it's not identifiable. Like there's no category for it.
Yeah.
They're assuming it's like a primate, orangutan,
and what
from the
happens
actions,
when you assume,
from the sounds, from the actions, and like they're saying, you don't find primate bones. You don't find, when they pass away.
I want to know if Bigfoot has a big baboon butt.
No, you would see it. All the videos, there's no baboon butt.
The big orange baboon butt.
Nope.
It looks like a red and raw. Their butts always look red and raw, don't they?
Yeah.
They got really bad fucking hemorrhoids.
Different species.
Yeah, I guess. All right,
species.
So we got a couple videos we found on the YouTubes that we're going to share with you today so you can watch along with us. And this first one is FBI releases Bigfoot files from the 1970s, decades after quote-unquote credible Northwest sighting. Doesn't that sound exciting? Let's listen to what this man has to say.
43 years ago, a group of men saw a creature standing in between a pair of trees, and that wasn't all.
Now, here's the thing before we get any further. This is actually a newscast. KREM2 News. I don't know where that's at, but this is actually on the fucking news.
Found evidence they believe belonged to Bigfoot. It's been a lifelong goal of Peter Byrne to prove an urban legend that spans centuries. The lure of Bigfoot has taken him from the Himalayas to the forests of the Pacific Northwest. It was here in our region where he made what he thought might be a big discovery.
I'm just assuming, and you know what happens when we assume.
Make an ass out of you and me, Billy.
I'm presuming that this is probably Washington News Channel.
Okay.
Washington State, because that seems to be where like the most sightings are, is British Columbia and Washington.
Okay.
Although there are sightings everywhere else. There's some in Maine. There's some down here in the Carolinas.
Countries, yeah.
Yeah. So everybody seems to think that it's just the Pacific Northwest that Bigfoot lives in, but apparently that's not true.
No, it's just called different things. Like when you're in Asia or India or Africa,
like
they're different.
In the Himalayas, it's the Yeti.
Right. They have different names, but it's the same.
And them Indians, the Indians here called them Sasquatch.
Take a look at these hair samples Byrne collected after spotting an unidentified creature. Byrne was the director of the Bigfoot Information Center and exhibition in Oregon at the time. He sent the hair and skin sample to the FBI for testing. In a letter to the FBI, Byrne said, "I am writing again to ask if you could possibly arrange for a comparative analysis of some hairs that we have here which we are unable to identify." But he never heard back until this week. These newly released documents by the FBI show they did agree to test the sample, but the letter never reached him. The FBI said in 1970.
That's because they never sent it.
It was concluded as a result of these examinations that the hairs are of deer family origin. The findings came in a response in the mail in the late 70s, but somehow the correspondence was lost. Now 93, Byrne told the Washington Post, "We're just finding this out, and it's disappointing." While it's not the answer he may have hoped for, he hasn't given up hope in proving the existence of Bigfoot. Today, Byrne lives on the Oregon coast and has a motion sensor camera outside of his home, hoping to one day catch a glimpse of the mysterious creature. In the studio, I'm Tim Pham, Creme 2 News.
Okay, of course they're going to say that it's a deer. They're not going to say, oh, you got a Bigfoot. You got Bigfoot hairs right there. You need to open up a museum around it.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's natives people, not Indians.
Oh, stop it.
Christopher Columbus thought he was in India. That's why it was Indians.
Don't even start.
Okay, let's listen to this crazy lady.
This one is going to be awesome. I feel it.
Like, I think paralleled to our...
I feel it.
Other ones that we love.
And just so you know, I'm part Native American, too.
Hello and welcome. I hope you're doing well.
Blasphemer!
Come and get cozy as I share...
Come and get cozy as I share my crazy story with you.
With you some absolutely
Dude, that was awesome. I said with you and then she said with you. That's fucking sweet.
terrifying encounters. I post new videos every day, so be sure to hit that subscribe.
So I have to laugh because this is on YouTube, okay? And the way this person talks. So I'm wondering if they actually phonetically spelled out stories.
Sasquatch stories, Billy. It's an S stories.
Stories.
Okay, the lady that's doing this
stories.
is S stories. Stories. Sasquatch
Stories. My terrifying stories. This thing has 7,261 views. That's more views than we have.
Yeah, right.
So start watching
Just
this
keep
shit,
talking.
people.
Subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll be notified when new daily content arrives.
Oh yeah, we need
on
to
my
say that
channel.
too. Please hit the like
All
button
right,
and the subscribe
let's
button.
get right into it. We were traveling back from the Washoe Indian Reservation, turned onto Highway 50 in dense forest near Lake Tahoe in El Dorado County. My son was looking out the window of our car and spotted the Bigfoot, or large hairy man as he called him.
Okay, I don't know.
Billy's dying over here.
I don't know
We're
if
gonna
this
make
is
it
like,
through here.
I don't know if this is like she's just talking that way because she actually talks that way, or
She's trying
if
to slow it
this
down.
is like a joke.
I don't know. We haven't listened to it. This
Because-
is a reaction podcast. We don't watch things before we listen to it. It could be like, surprise.
It's
not real.
It's
not real.
Or is she a reptilian?
Ooh.
Oh, she's
There's
a
no
hybrid.
video of her. It's just
Is
three
her name
candles.
Twister?
Or Lily.
The Lake Tahoe sighting was at dusk during a full moon in clear weather. It was dense forest on Highway 50 in the mountains. My son, age 9, was very afraid because he saw a large, hairy man with fur standing in the trees alongside the road. He felt
This is really Mike Tyson, isn't it?
No.
I thought that's what.
No.
he was looking at him, and he was upset until we got home. My daughter, who is 20 years older than my son, saw a similar creature at about the same age in Newton, North Dakota. Again, it was at dusk at the edge of town near a canyon that has a lot of trees. She and my niece saw.
That has... The way she said that was weird. That has a lot of trees. Well, yeah, you're in the fucking woods. Of course it has a lot of trees.
He's reading and it was phonetically in the wrong place.
Yeah, that was the wrong accentuation. Accentuation.
A large, hairy creature peeking out of a barn window.
I take umbrage. I really get upset when people call me a large, hairy creature. I'm out on the road. My car ran down. I'm coming out of the woods at dusk. What the fuck do you expect, lady? I've been walking for fucking hours in the woods.
I have a theory too.
Okay. What is your
Can I
theory?
give it to you now?
Yeah.
Okay, so what if Sasquatch is just wearing bear suits? It's actually,
Like old bear skins and
vampires,
shit?
and they're sewing together all old bear skins.
Maybe. I don't know. Like the old Viking berserkers. It used to
Yes.
just like they'd be
They
naked,
had-
but they would wear stinky furs.
Yep. Because you can smell them.
It's psyops. It's fucking psychological warfare.
Right. Well, that's what Eric said when we were watching. He goes, maybe that's their ghillie suit.
But they're tall. They're like
They're
super
Nephilim.
tall.
Nephilims are tall. Nephilims are like 8-9 feet tall. Like they found, like their skull. Like if you get on and you Google Nephilims,
Yeah,
they're really
digging up the giants.
They're
and
digging up
shit.
the giant bones. Yeah. So they're just wearing meat suits.
Aren't we all
sewing
just
together.
wearing meat suits?
I guess so.
I just got philosophical.
They became hysterical and ran
Hysterical.
home. The creature
I fucking love
had
her
reddish
voice.
brown hair, according to my daughter, and black hair, according to my niece. It was watching them play catch.
Her niece?
Their uncle came out to check almost immediately and found nothing but some indents in the soft dirt in the barn below the open window. He said the creature would have to be crouching down in order to look through the window, but for some reason,
Her front teeth must be angled at like 45 degrees out. Because I haven't heard anybody since Mike Tyson talk like that shit. Merry Christmas.
Stop.
My niece.
Stop.
What's wrong with you? My niece hurts.
the girl said he was large, maybe the size of his head and shoulders was large. Our tribal people are split between whether Bigfoot is a spiritual creature or a physical one. Their uncle felt they saw a spirit creature because there were no footprints, and why would the creature brush his footprints from the soft dirt? On to the next story.
Okay, that was a story. She's telling stories. Wow. This is fucking gold.
Oh my God, Billy. That was the first story?
That was the first story.
So they just saw him driving around.
Yeah, so basically they were driving around, probably doing some peyote. Saw a big hairy man come out of the fucking woods.
One was redheaded and one was blackheaded.
Red hair, black hair, cock hair, butt hair. I don't know.
It was all sewn together.
It was just sewn together. Scary Harry. Oh my goodness. What's this next story?
My experience happened while I was on a helicopter ride, looking over the Smoky Mountain Range of Tennessee. It was back in 2008, and my husband had planned the outing and had intended to propose to me. I had never before been on a helicopter ride or even stepped foot inside one, but I guess I talked about it a decent amount because he claimed that's how he got the idea. The incident occurred in springtime. I remember being a bit nervous, but also extremely excited at the same time. There's something so thrilling about being that high up. It's so much different than being on a commercial airliner. We had a tour guide with us who was hired to point out various landmarks and educate us on some of the region's history. He was a very friendly older man. We must have been in the air for about 20 minutes when something so incredibly odd caught our attention from down below.
From down under. There was this crazy hairy lady screaming about the fucking flat earth, and then she screaming CGI, CGI the whole time. I thought that was a strange language. CGI, what is that? What kind of language is that?
Pretty sure I remember the tour guide saying we were headed into a no-fly zone, if that even exists out there. I remember something about
A no-fly zone. That means that they were flying over government air,
Right, you weren't supposed to be in there.
which means you could get your ass shot down.
We were just talking about that.
him saying how we were heading off course because that usually gives you your best chance of spotting rare wildlife.
Spotting.
Boy, was he right. At first, I thought we had flown over a small village of teepees. You know,
think
I was
Billy's
sort of
broken.
thinking that it was an area that the national
Boy, was he right.
park had fought hard to preserve. But we were flying pretty low when this happened. So we were able to see what looked like several hairy giants walking around this tiny village. It didn't take long.
This has to be fucking comedy. Several. Now she sounds like Sylvester. Suffering Sasquatch. The fuck?
For me to recognize that the pilot and the tour guide were just as shocked as my husband and I. We circled the area multiple times, and I could quickly tell that the
Didn't she just say that he was asking her to get
Right.
married and she just said her husband and I?
My husband just saw a putty tat.
beings below us were not human. The way they moved around gives me the chills just thinking about it. It was almost like we were looking at a bunch of ghosts from above. I mean, the way they moved around was so
So she is reading stories. This
Yeah.
isn't stuff that she has actually
No.
experienced.
No. No.
quick and nimble that they had me worried. Whether they were going to glide up into the helicopter. I know that sounds crazy, but the feeling I had while staring at this creepy little village was so dark that all I could think about was getting away from the area. I even thought we were seemingly safe inside the aircraft. My husband had already purchased a knife.
Hey, did
Did you
those
see
candles
there's
finally
another-
just start flickering?
Yes.
I thought so.
There's another story that hunters spot heavily pregnant female Bigfoot. She's got a bunch of stories, so
Yeah, I'm going to finish
not.
this story and we're
No.
going to move to something
we're
else.
going to move to something else.
Because she's driving me fucking crazy.
Agreed.
Professional camera with an expensive lens. Even
was
though he didn't yet
expensive.
know what he was doing, we went around the village multiple times so that he could
Oh, look.
Code Academy.
The
is
ad sounds
a
more
great
important.
tool for anyone looking to increase their
snap a ton of photographs. Funny enough, it was because of the shock from seeing this strange village that my husband forgot to propose while we were in the air. A side note, he ended up proposing later that night, and I accepted. Now, here's where things get really weird. Not one of us knew for sure what these beings were that we saw during that helicopter excursion. However, it was either the pilot or the tour guide that suggested it had to be a group of Sasquatch. After doing a bit of investigating, my husband and I found out that we were not the only ones who had sightings of the Sasquatch out in the Smoky Mountains.
So, let me ask you this. I thought Sasquatch were mainly like fucking solitary. Because you always only see one.
Well, they were flying over government areas, so that's exactly what I said, that the government's protecting them. They were flying over a village of Bigfoot.
I don't
And
understand
my
people.
point is proven. My
I just
point is
don't
proven.
understand people.
We thought we were going to make some good money and get some good publicity for the decent photographs my husband had taken. Wow, were we mistaken.
Yeah, because once we landed and we were in our
You're
fucking
in a
hotel
restricted
room,
area.
you had 7 fucking FBI agents break down the door and arrest us and steal all the photographic evidence that we had.
Yep.
And then we disappeared for 2 weeks, and then I came up with this cool story.
Submitted a couple of photographs to a few of the major nature magazines and media outlets, only to receive a visit from a group of men who wanted to talk about what we had seen and how many images we had acquired.
Called it!
Put it in the cloud, and they're going to
There were
delete it from
3 of
everywhere.
them, and they were very polite when they first arrived. They claimed to be journalists with one of the magazines that we sent the photos to, and they were very congratulatory on our achievement. Since they were so convincing, we allowed them to see the entire roll of photographs, as well as the camera and the hard drive that we used to store everything. One of the men guided us to
Idiots.
sit down, while the other
Why would you
two
do
worked
that?
on clearing the hard drive. The only reason we entrusted these men was that we hadn't told another soul aside from the big name media outlet. So we had no reason to believe we were reckless when we invited these men inside after they stated they were with one of these outlets.
I would immediately send it to you, just like I did when I had the car wreck. I would immediately send it to you, and I immediately send it to 4 other people.
Yeah, if you have evidence like that, and then
Immediately
somebody
send
just
it around.
comes and visits you and is like,
No.
we're with blah, blah, blah.
No.
You don't fucking give them everything you have.
Send it out.
9 times out of 10, those are government fucking undercover agents that are
Make
coming
a
to get all
copy
your
and
shit.
mail it to your mom with a Mother's Day gift.
Or mail it back
something.
to yourself, like fucking...
Right.
What's that? When they fucking registered or whatever? You know what I'm... Certified.
Certified
That's it.
mail.
Certified
Yeah,
mail,
where you go and
you
pay.
have to sign
you have to
for
sign
it.
it. You get a green ticket. Yeah. Yep.
These people
Mail it to
obviously
yourself.
are very naive.
Send it off. Yeah, they should have sent it off.
Because we
I
were
agree.
cooperating, they maintained their polite attitude. However, I'm confident that their demeanors would have changed if we had argued with them or gotten the slightest bit aggressive.
You think?
I love my husband, but he isn't the strongest guy out there. In all honesty, he would have been slapped silly by these men.
Not only that, but he also would have been thrown in prison for assaulting a fucking federal agent.
And that's, of course, the last thing I would want to ever witness. They explained that we were no longer to share those photographs with anyone. I suppose they said this just as an extra precaution in case we had managed to store extra files somewhere that was out of their reach. It became...
Said, too bad, I've already sent it to everybody.
This is why you do not fucking trust your government.
Immediately send it off. Immediately send it off
Absolutely.
to as many people as you know, and mail it to yourself. Right.
You don't...
Certified.
This is why I get so infuriated with people that think the government has your best interest at heart. They
yeah.
don't.
No, you flew over restricted land, and that land was where Bigfoot was protected. So you broke the law by flying over. Number 2, you broke the law by taking photos. Over a restricted area. Well, I wonder if the pilot lost their license because the FAA can snatch your license for nothing.
We'll never know. We'll never know the whole story. And it's just... people are so dumb.
But that's my point. Why is the government protecting Bigfoot? Because they don't want us to wipe them out like we do all the other species that we have?
I don't know.
They don't want to be hunted?
Let's listen to what Mountain Beast Mysteries has to say about the Bigfoot cover-up. What the government doesn't want us to know. I hope he sounds like Droopy. Be fucking awesome.
You know what? There's a big scary creature up here in the woods. He got big feet.
I'd listen to that.
And I'm just here to tell you that the government knows all about it.
Hey everyone, welcome to Mountain Beast Mysteries. In today's video, I wanted to talk about the strange cases of missing people in our national parks.
He's Canadian. Did you hear that, about?
I did.
I want to talk about it.
Yep. I mean, he's in the area where they
Right.
supposedly are because it's so dense.
Now, if he says A in any of these, I'm going to be fucking giddy.
The possibility of Bigfoot being responsible and the potential involvement and place of the government in all of this. I'm sure most of you here are familiar with these cases. There are literally thousands of cases of people going missing in national parks, and quite a few of them are under very strange circumstances that don't make any sense. A lot of times you hear about the cases of people that are found extremely far away from where they were last seen in terrain that seems almost impassable, or they'll be found, without their clothes, or in some cases they'll turn up alive and not even remember what had happened. And whatever goes on in these cases, Bigfoot has always been suspected as being the culprit. Now, obviously, people go missing from other more normal factors like simply getting lost, or maybe they fall victim to an animal attack, or even an attack by human beings, or a kidnapping, or something along those lines. All of those things do happen. The really interesting thing about national parks, as opposed to wilderness that is public land, is that national parks are protected by the government. They are sanctuaries for the flora and fauna that reside there. The rules and laws in national parks are usually quite strict. At least here in Canada, they are.
I knew it!
I'm not sure how parks here compare to the parks in the
Woohoo!
States, but here you can't randomly camp in the backcountry of a park. You need to acquire permits that are usually area specific. You can't have campfires wherever you please. You're not allowed to carry firearms, and the list goes on. What I'm trying to say is that if Bigfoot or Sasquatch wanted a place to reside where it was safe and protected, more or less, a national park would be the perfect place. Not only is it a sanctuary for all the other wildlife, but it would be a sanctuary for the Bigfoot as well. There's no hunting in national parks. They don't have to worry about getting shot. And when you think about it, the people who visit national parks usually always stick to designated trails. They stick to well-known touristy areas. And this creates a very predictable environment for the Sasquatch. They know where all the hiking trails are. They know where all the campgrounds are. And so
Who the fuck hikes with that kind of clothing?
Gen Xers.
If I'm going hiking, I'm sure as fuck not wearing like fucking summer shorts and sandals.
No.
I'm dressing up in my full fucking military gear.
Right. Well, the temperature changes so quickly when you're in the mountains.
Yeah.
And then what hikers don't understand that are not familiar with hiking is that it gets fucking cold.
Mm-hmm.
Like even in California, even in the desert.
Yep.
You think, oh my God, I'm going to die from
Till
exposure.
you get up in the mountains.
And then when the sun goes down in the desert, it's like 50 degrees.
Yep.
Like it is cold.
I lived in Vegas for 23 years. I can remember you go up into those mountains at night, and this shit's fucking cold.
It's cold. Yeah, as soon as that
It could be
sun goes
120
down.
down in the valley, but
Correct.
it's fucking cold.
They're not
as
prepared
shit.
for that.
Nope.
on. And they can structure their life of seclusion around that, and they can sort of rely on that to keep them much more safe than if, they were outside of a park. National parks are the perfect location for these creatures to live. The thing is, the government has total control over these parks. They can restrict areas whenever they want for whatever reason they make up.
We knew
And they shouldn't. At all. We have an ad coming here.
that the shaving industry was sort of intentionally broken, it feels like.
Shut up.
And biological studies, are conducted in parks. If the government was going to study Bigfoot, I think they would most likely conduct their studies inside of a national park. They have total control, and they could shut down an area. They could say it's maybe because they're doing a study on a certain type of lichen or whatever they want to make up, and in
lichen.
reality, they can go out and
Werewolf.
study Sasquatch.
No, silly. They're
Lichen.
talking about the moss, the lichen, not lycanthropes.
Lichen is a werewolf.
But lichen, it's pronounced
Why would they not
lichen, but
protect
it's
lichen
spelled
also?
Lichen.
Well, you're not listening to
Lichen.
the story.
I'm
They're
listening
talking
to your
about
story
Bigfoot.
about. You're talking about werewolves.
Yeah.
Out in the fucking forest.
Look how pretty that is. If I was
This
a werewolf,
is a
I would go there.
goddamn Bigfoot story, not a fucking werewolf. Okay? No goddamn werewolves in fucking national parks. Gonna get my fucking New England out in me.
You did.
Quit making up goddamn stories about werewolves. Fucking retarded.
You're killing me,
They can
Smalls.
do this without anyone from the public knowing. If you're exploring off-trail in national parks here in Canada and you don't have a permit of some kind issued by the government, you're essentially limited to day treks, and in turn limited to how far you can explore. Our national parks here are vast. Jasper National Park, for example, is a massive park, and there are insane amounts of untouched, pristine wilderness that doesn't really ever see human activity. There are indeed plenty of areas that Bigfoot could choose to reside. Mind you, there are indeed Bigfoot reports that come from these parks, Bigfoot reports that come from Jasper National Park, missing people cases that come from Jasper National Park. And the story that Ken Walker, the taxidermist, told me about someone that went missing from a cabin in Jasper involves the forestry officers telling the rest of the people from that group to keep their mouths shut and never talk about it, which is very, very odd. You know, why would they say something like that unless something totally bizarre and out of the ordinary happened? Now, obviously, we get Bigfoot reports from...
Is that a werebear?
Yes. Do you see those nails?
Is a werebear?
Yep. What? Like
all over the place
werebear
on public
stare.
land, areas that aren't really protected. People go
Is
missing.
that a Berenstain werebear?
No, that's
Now that
Care
would
Bear.
be a fabulous
Care Bear.
D&D game if you had to fight the Berenstain Bears and they were actually werebears.
Or Care Bears. Care Bears.
Ooh.
They all have
in these
special
areas
powers.
too. However, when we think of a national park as kind of an undercover Sasquatch sanctuary, it kind of makes sense
Told
why
ya.
all these mysterious disappearances happen in these parks. It also explains why in lots of these parks, especially in the States, they don't even keep public records of these disappearances.
That's what we talked about, yep.
And that's completely bizarre to me. They must not want people to know what is actually out there.
Yep.
It's possible that, you know, they're totally aware that Bigfoot exists. And I suppose it's possible that some sort of secret search could be being conducted out there in those parks. And, you know, it's speculation at the end of the day, but if I was with the government and I was tasked with searching for Bigfoot, I would definitely choose a park where I could close down certain areas whenever I wanted to and, you know, focus my research there.
Can I just
This
say,
is exactly what I was saying.
I have to comment how lovely our fucking Canadian neighbors are, polite even in their fucking videos. They're like the most polite people on the planet. Even if they're like cussing you out, they politely do it.
Yep.
Could
I
you,
watched
like-
this cruise guy. His name's Cruising with Dawn.
Yeah.
And he gives him like 3 tries and then he gets mad. And even Mad Dawn is not like our mad.
Yeah. It's like, hey, buddy.
I'm going to talk to him.
Could you please go fuck off, buddy? Eh?
They're super nice. We're just jealous, y'all.
It's interesting to think about researching Bigfoot on public land because when I personally go searching, I've always chose areas that are public land just because I want the freedom to do whatever I want, you know, to camp wherever I want, to bring a firearm when I go hiking, you know, to have campfires.
Yeah, why would you not want to bring a firearm? You're out in the middle of the fucking woods.
It's what he said. The
I know,
national
that's-
land, you can't
yeah.
bring it on
Well,
national land.
I don't understand that rule. I mean, these...
So you don't shoot the Bigfoot that they fucking protecting, Billy?
Government's so fucking dumb.
Are you listening to
Right.
what we're trying to
But
talk
what if
about?
there's no Bigfoot and you got 7 fucking wolves around you? Oh, look, I don't have a gun. I can't fucking protect myself. Guess I'm... That's how the movie The Grey started.
What,
Did you ever
from
see that
Alien?
movie?
No.
With Liam Neeson?
No.
Like, he was in an airplane and the airplane crashed and they all, like, were out in the woods and there was, like, a pack of wolves that was chasing them all.
Okay.
And he, like, didn't have any weapons and he, like, full on went fucking brawling with these wolves.
Oh.
It was pretty crazy. He died at the
Oh.
end. I just spoiled the whole
You
fucking
totally
movie.
ruined it.
But that's okay. It's a pretty good fucking movie.
These public land areas are also always frequented by almost a different breed of outdoor enthusiast that you wouldn't find in, you know, a national park.
And one time I went and I heard banjos.
In public land areas,
Not in Canada.
people are a bit more like rugged, I guess I would say. People like to go out, rip around on their 4x4s, shooting up the place. There's hunters everywhere. It's not the ideal
like South Carolina.
environment in that sense for a species.
That's in Canada.
And they don't need fucking public land to do it. They'll do it in their fucking front yard.
In the neighborhood with the HOA calling the cops.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Emma, get my gun! I'm about to go four-wheeling.
Call Berkeley County.
Hold my beer.
Call Berkeley County.
Just Bigfoot,
Berkeley.
who are determined to remain hidden and safe from human beings. A park, on the other hand, offers far more safety. You know, people stick to those trails. People travel in ways that are totally predictable. People aren't shooting guns everywhere. The Bigfoot can structure their day-to-day life around the patterns in human activity that they observe. And because these places are predictable, and they know where the hiking trails are, they know where people will be hiking, making it very easy for them to snatch someone up if they wanted to.
Yep.
Why they would do this is anyone's guess, to be honest. But there are plenty of historical reports of Bigfoot kidnapping people.
I just came up with a theory.
What's your theory?
What if the people in the national parks that go missing are turned into Bigfoot?
Because they're bit by the vampires that are Big Feet. That's what I said when we started this. You were like, no, it's not vampires. Why?
Maybe.
That's exactly what's happening.
Maybe the government is looking for people that wear big shoes, and then they're bringing them into labs
What if
and
they're
turning them into
lichen?
Bigfoots.
He said lichen. What if you're turned into? It's like a werewolf, like a vampire.
We're not talking about lycanthropes.
No, it's the same
when he says
thing.
lichen.
Same
Lichen is not the same thing as a lycanthrope.
What did you just say?
A lichen is
What
moss.
did you just say?
A lichen is moss.
Lycanthrope. Okay, so a Bigfoot bites a human. Then what happens?
No, I don't think it's biting a human. I think they're abducting these people and doing scientific fucking procedures on them and turning them into Bigfoots. I don't think it's because Bigfoot bit them. Oh shit, I got scratched by a Bigfoot. Oh shit, my foot's 2 times the size it was yesterday. It doesn't work like that.
That's what werewolves are.
No. Oh my god. This is so crazy.
Usually the people are kept alive and, you know, they're fed and taken care of. And it could just be like a curiosity thing. Maybe they want to learn more about humans, and that's how they go about it, by kidnapping them. You know, it probably to...
That's what you just said.
He could actually have a whole 8-minute video where he just says about, and I would be happy.
Right. It's very soothing.
It's a boot. It's
Like
a
I
boot.
feel like I can meditate right now, just listening to him.
It's a boot. What a boot. What a boot if we walk out in the public lands and go oot and walk around, walk a boot.
It's a walkabout.
Fucking love it.
them doesn't seem like a very scary thing, but for a human being, it's traumatizing. I don't know. It's just really, really weird. So when we do Bigfoot research, you know, maybe we're looking in all the wrong places. Maybe we need to do more searching in these parks. We would be extremely limited in what we can do and how far we can go, but it could be worth a shot. But those are my theories, and you know, this is what I've been thinking about the last few days. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video, guys. We'll see you next time on Mountain Beast Mysteries.
That was a very good
You gotta
video.
give him a thumbs up. That was a good video. He
Mountain
actually
Beast
helped.
Mysteries.
Yeah, we might be seeing him a few times.
Yeah, that guy was pretty cool, and he's
He
very,
looks like he does Bigfoot only
very
stuff.
soothing man. Very soothing man. What a boot.
agreed.
Fucking weird shit, dude. I don't
That's
know.
exactly what I was saying. Why is the government protecting Bigfoot? Like the loggers. Like they bought up all the land and then nobody can go in now.
I don't know. The government sucks.
They're protecting them. That's not sucking. They're protecting them from us murdering the Bigfoot.
I think they're creating them. I think they're creating Bigfoot.
But how
I think it's another
if they
one of the
created
alien
it-
technologies that they had after the deal that Eisenhower struck with the Aryans when they showed up in the 50s.
Right.
And now they're getting better and better at hybridization, and they're creating super soldiers. That's what I think.
But why would the government snatch the land out from under the loggers
Because
if they knew they were there?
Because then they can
didn't
do
know
it-
they were there.
They can do it in secret and not
They
be found
didn't
out.
know they were there.
You know what I mean? No, they knew they were there. They just can do it in secret and not be found out. Now there's some of the, I'm looking at different
Or
videos.
they're informed that there's a cell here. You're going to have to buy this land because there's a cell here.
I don't know, man. It's
Maybe
weird.
that's part of the treaty.
It's weird.
Because the aliens landed there and they put on some meat suits and now they're walking around procreating and eating humans.
Procreating. procreate and everything.
Procreating everywhere.
I think that it's all fucking weird. I believe that there is a Bigfoot, but I know me, Mr. Skeptical.
So with all of the technology that we have, we're seeing them more and more.
I don't know, but I don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
You don't believe that there's Bigfoot?
I don't believe that the government is covering it up.
Why? You
Because I
always preach that the government's not fucking telling us anything.
Yeah, but they're not that fucking smart. You got some really stupid people in government, as I showed in the last show with the aliens, that all the fucking abductees were all fucking government employees. I just don't think they're that smart to be able to keep that big of a secret. I mean, that's just the way I look at it. I mean,
there's so much stuff that we don't know.
I
we have
agree
no
with you
idea
on
about.
that, but I don't know, man. It's just fucking. It's just weird.
There has to be something. There has to be something.
Oh, I'm sure there is, but I don't know if the government's involved in it. If anything, they're covering it up to not be able to find it, but not. I don't think they're protecting it. I think if the government does have a Bigfoot, they probably already did cut one open and all that other shit.
Yeah, they did, guaranteed.
But I don't think. I don't know. It's a weird fucking situation. Just I don't like this fucking government. I don't like any governments. They're all fuckheads. So I figured while we're talking about Bigfoot, because there's not a lot of videos on the actual.
Well, we can't really play them, so.
Yeah, some of them are History Channel stuff, and I can't really do that.
So the Expedition Bigfoot, y'all need to watch.
But I
It's
do
very,
have.
very interesting. Let me get the exact episode. Season 3. What did I
thought
text
said
you?
Season 3, episode 6.
I think. Let me see what I texted you the other day.
So while she's doing that, I am goofing off looking on the YouTubes, and we're going to actually look at some Bigfoot footage. Doesn't that sound fun?
Yeah, it does sound fun.
Yeah. This
Episode 7. Season 3, Episode 7 is what I texted you, because that's exactly what we were watching.
Because you can't talk about Bigfoot without looking at some of these videos that people have found Bigfoot in.
Correct.
So I'm looking around trying to find some and trying to see what we can look. And there's a couple of other ones where I found some videos of people who actually are taking the British Columbian government to court over Bigfoot. I'm curious to see what that's all about.
That looks like Joe Rogan right there.
Yeah.
So you talking about Bigfoot too?
Yeah, 10 untold truths about Bigfoot. We'll probably just end with Joe, just like we did the last one.
Okay.
Because Joe is awesome. So here is the very first video, and this is called The Best of Bigfoot. And it's off of Animal Planet. So hats off to Animal Planet. Here we go. Oh, and now it's going to be like, videos
Circle in the
unavailable.
drain, circle the drain, circle the drain.
I hate when that happens.
Circle the drain.
Why you
We
gotta
have
be
too
a
many
douche
files
canoe?
open.
I'm gonna go look at a different one because I don't
Okay.
want to wait.
The Voyager has
This one has a stupid ad. Sorry,
see when
I'm
the
gonna talk
market's
over the ad because I
down by
fucking
the
hate these
second.
ads.
Can't you cut the ad out?
CPI Security's new outdoor.
Oh my god, another ad!
Can you cut the ad out?
I miss YouTube when it didn't have ads.
Todd, appreciate you taking some time for us here today.
This is
Can you
APTN
tell
News.
us how this lawsuit came about?
Came a boot.
Ooh.
Taking British Columbia government to court over Bigfoot. What's this all about?
Well, it's been over 12 years I've been going to Fish and Wildlife and telling them, here's evidence, here's video footage, these are Sasquatch. Come out with me in the field and I will show you a Sasquatch. And for over a decade...
I bet he
I've been
says that to all the
denying
girls.
This is in
Ugh,
Alberta,
come look at it.
British Columbia, Montana, Washington, and California. Those states and provinces
Ooh, that's
Fish
a
and
good picture.
Wildlife will not come out with me and will not allow me to show them a Sasquatch.
That looks like a
that's
caveman.
not real.
That looks like a caveman.
That's not a real picture of Bigfoot. That is somebody dressed up in fucking CGI.
CGI.
So now I'm suing them, starting in British Columbia, for dereliction of duty.
Ooh.
This is a wildlife species. It's their job. They have to take responsibility for it.
Nice.
And
See, they're even polite when they're ready to sue their own government.
They are. Take responsibility, sir.
Excuse me, but I'm going to sue you now for dereliction of duty. I'll see you in court, sir.
See you. Good day.
Good
I'm
day,
suing
eh?
them for not. Just the same way you'd sue a police officer who's not enforcing the law when it's his job to do so. I don't want
That looks like a fat dude in a suit.
to hear
I mean,
excuses.
it looks
Their
like a
job,
Bigfoot.
enforce the law. Media like yourself go around and do stories when police officers or fishery officers eyewitness a Sasquatch, and Fish and Wildlife doesn't show up. They don't do anything. The incident with the police officer in northern British Columbia, he didn't know what to do. He was there twice, scaring off a Sasquatch, and that's not his job. It's a wildlife issue. Where was Fish and Wildlife? And I'll tell you where. They were nowhere, doing nothing. That's what they do when it comes to Sasquatch.
How much weed do you think that guy smokes?
His beard probably smells like it.
I bet his house has a little bit of a tang to it.
And so you say you have evidence beyond reasonable doubt that Sasquatch exists. Can you tell us a bit about that evidence?
I have every piece of evidence. I have DNA, I have forensic evidence, I have eyewitness testimony from professors and engineers, doctors, PhDs, people that have absolutely unequivocally seen the species, DNA that is
This video right here could easily be a fake because all you're doing is looking through trees. That could be anything.
Right.
That could be a bear. That could be a deer. That could be a dude in a monkey suit. There's no fucking way that I don't know, man.
undeniable from multiple sources. I mean, if this was a murder trial, the person...
He looks real to me.
The person being charged with murder is going to jail for sure. Like, this is an ocean of evidence. And if this goes to trial, which is what they don't want, which is the difficulty to get it to go to trial, but if it goes to trial, I'll win. The problem is we need some sort of precedent case study.
Oh, his eye,
he
winked or blinked.
CGI.
No, it worked.
That's what's really difficult. We're trying to...
Why is the fucking video so blasted out? Why is it all whited out? It's like fucking artist rendition.
Sunshine. I don't know.
Fucking bullshit. This is fake. I'm telling you, this is fake.
Why would you wouldn't sue the government if you had a fake news, Billy?
Why would Bigfoot be standing there so peacefully? Why would Bigfoot be standing there so peacefully while somebody's videotaping him? If
I don't know.
If they're such
Does he have a telescopic lens?
If they're such apex predators, they would have known this guy was in the woods in the first place.
They do. That's why they're not allowed to touch
they're
it.
just standing there. Hey, get my good side. Get my good side. This is my good side. The right side's my best side. The left side's got a little fecal matter on the cheek. And I got a blinky eye.
Civil allegations and tobacco companies, and it's hard to make that connection so a judge can let this go to court because he doesn't care how much evidence we have. He just needs to see a precedent, and that's what the difficulty is right now.
And so what is a successful outcome for you in this lawsuit?
Outcome.
When I win, I will have proven that Sasquatch...
I love that he's confident.
And therefore, Fish and Wildlife are derelict in their duty B, and the outcome will be I'm going to ask them to go on a 3-month ecological survey with me into the wilderness in British Columbia or Alberta or Montana.
That just sounds like he's trying to get camping buddies.
No, he's trying to prove that they're real.
He's like, I'm all alone when I go camping, and I really want some friends. So I'm going to sue the government so somebody will come out and go camping with me for 3 months.
I mean, I agree with him.
Whatever it is, and I will show them everything they need to know about a Sasquatch to begin the appropriate biological study and acknowledgement of this species.
And Todd, do you know what...
I bet he smells like a Band-Aid when he sweats.
Because he's redheaded?
Yeah.
Billy.
When this is coming back to court?
Well, the judge is going to render a decision.
You're so weird.
We'll see what happens after that. But no matter if he lets it go to trial, I'll win the trial. If he doesn't let it go to trial, we'll find a new way, or I'll go to Alberta, or actually California's next. The law there has been much more agreeable than it has here in Canada, and we'll go give California a try.
Well, Todd, it's quite a case and one we will most certainly be following. I appreciate you taking some time for us this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Wow.
He's suing him.
Suing the fuck out of him.
We're gonna make you say that there's a Bigfoot.
Suing
Harry and the Hendersons.
Fuck out of him. All right, and now the creme de la creme, the piece de resistance. We're gonna listen to what Joe Rogan has for his stories. If this is the Joe Rogan one, yeah, it is.
This mysterious creature is known by many names, including Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, and the Abominable Snowman.
I think just Rogan is in like a clip or two.
Yeah,
That's
I think
right,
it's 15 minutes.
But this is from Babbletop.
Okay.
The top 10 untold truths about Bigfoot.
Why can't they call me the adorable snowman or the agreeable snowman, for crying out loud?
Whatever name you call it by, it is a mystery that still persists despite decades of researchers and adventurers trying to find real proof of its existence. Grainy film footage and photographs are suspected of being faked.
You sit on a throne of lies.
As are hundreds of plaster casts of footprints and other scraps of evidence. Even in this age of ever-present camera phones...
Why couldn't she just say Bigfoot poo? They show a picture of Bigfoot poo, and then she's like, and other sorts of evidence.
Evidence remains elusive. For most people, only a body that can be verified by scientists will solve the mystery once and for all. Bigfoot might not be real, but it's been a real part of popular culture and will likely continue to be. Joe Rogan versus Bigfoot.
When we went to the Pacific Northwest and hung out with a few Bigfoot hunters for a week, what you find is hordes of unfuckable white dudes out camping.
Joe Rogan is most known as a stand-up comedian and as a color commentator for UFC's mixed martial arts bouts. In 2009, he started a podcast that has become pretty popular. The podcast has given Rogan a platform with which to discuss a range of topics with millions of listeners. Although the topics usually revolve around sports and entertainment, his show has taken on less mainstream topics such as extraterrestrials and even the existence of Bigfoot. Rogan hasn't pulled any punches on the subject, making his view that the whole thing is a big hoax perfectly clear.
You know why it's obviously a man?
Why?
Because it looks like a man in a suit. There's no other animal that looks like a man in a suit. You don't look at a giraffe and go, that looks like a dude in a giraffe suit.
In the process, he has greatly annoyed some people in the Bigfoot research community with his enthusiasm for trashing them on his podcast. One would think believers in the mysterious creatures would have developed thicker skins, since they must deal with skeptics of all stripes. Rogan is known for his aggressive pull-no-punches style that seems to be particularly galling to his targets. They do have a point about Rogan, because calling people names doesn't prove Bigfoot is fake. Rogan is an entertainer, and whether you believe in Bigfoot or not, he has had entertaining moments on his podcast talking about Bigfoot, so he wins either way. Are you fascinated yet? Click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. On with the list. Bigfoot and pop culture. If it's true that there is no
I loved that movie. Harry and the Hendersons. That was a good movie.
Such thing as bad publicity, then what do Bigfoot researchers think of Jack Lynx using the creature to sell its beef jerky snacks? Presumably, Bigfoot would enjoy the bits of dry, salty meat, but it probably wouldn't enjoy the spotlight that it has attracted in our popular culture.
We'd get a million hits on YouTube for sure.
The mysterious creature has been the subject of a number of movies, television shows, books, comics, and toys since the 1960s. Before Hollywood treated Bigfoot fans to the 1987 release of Harry and the Hendersons, there was Bigfoot's infamous appearance on the 1970s hit show, The $6 Million Man, where the creature went up against the cyborg Steve Austin.
I remember that episode as a kid. Holy shit, that's awesome.
Perhaps Bigfoot and his fans' biggest boon has been the internet.
What's the internet?
The World Wide Web sometimes seems to exist in order to spread and popularize arcane information to the masses. Enthusiasts used to speak to one another on the phone or at small gatherings, but cyberspace allows millions of people to connect on a daily basis to share images, stories, and other information. Cable television routinely airs documentaries of varying quality that offer the latest evidence of Bigfoot's existence. As far
There's your boy Josh.
Yep.
as pop culture is concerned, it's probably better for business if Bigfoot remains a mystery rather than proven to exist.
Oh, I hate the ads. Oh, I hate the ads. They suck.
Bigfoot footprints.
It's a goddamn her.
People who are convinced that Bigfoot is a real creature and not a long-standing hoax often point to a number of large footprints that have been photographed over the years. Plaster casts have been made of the many footprints found in mud and snow and are touted as concrete evidence. The footprint casts have become one of the iconic pieces of evidence associated with Bigfoot, but many critics of the Bigfoot research community dismiss the casts as fakes. Unfortunately for believers in Bigfoot, there have been several documented cases of people.
Do you think they're fake?
Not all of them.
There's some that don't even look like a footprint.
Right. No, like the one on Destination Truth, I don't think it was Expedition, but I think it was Destination Truth. They were watching it, and they followed it, and it was going up the side of a mountain, and they found it where they saw it. So that was their cast. And it was actually, they said that it was real.
Yeah, some
government there.
Some of the plaster casts I've seen just are ridiculous. They don't look. And I know there was a couple people that got caught a while ago, like walking out with these big wooden fucking foot things they made, and they were like putting their foot on that and then just walking to create them.
Right.
So there's always assholes everywhere.
Right.
People trying to perpetrate hoaxes using props to create phony footprints. All it takes is for one prankster to put on a pair of rubber feet and traipse around the woods to call into question years of hard, painstaking work by dedicated people.
Scatter. Anything to throw them off.
A handful of mainstream scientists have studied some of the casts with mixed results. While some of the evidence has not been shown to be completely fake, they cannot be proven to be real either. Footprints will never be a substitute for a body or some clear-cut DNA evidence that everyone can agree is genuine. But until there is incontrovertible evidence of Bigfoot's existence that scientists can agree on, footprint casts will continue to be an important part of the case for the creature's existence. Bigfoot sightings. Many of us want Bigfoot to be real, but barring real physical evidence, skepticism must be maintained. For many people, seeing has been believing, with thousands of people reporting Bigfoot sightings across the United States. There is a site called bigfootsightings.org where people can report their own experiences. Since the time of the first
Ooh, bigfootsightings.org. Check it out, people. Cool. And also tell us what you guys think about Bigfoot. Is it real? Do you believe in it? Do you have any stories? TheDeadTimeRadio@gmail.com is your place to go to give us those stories.
Please and thank you.
European settlers, sightings have been reported in most states in the Union of varying quality. Depictions of the creature have been remarkably consistent, but this fact can be a double-edged sword that has been used against people reporting a sighting. Critics have argued that the reason the descriptions are so consistent is that the people are working off of descriptions that they have heard or read about, rather than from a genuine sighting they've made themselves.
See, and that's the whole thing with aliens, too. Everybody knows what the grays are now, because somebody came up with that description. So did somebody just expand on that and just keep going, create a whole backstory for them, all that other shit, you know what I mean?
Right.
And just kept going and going and going.
It's almost certainly true this is the case with at least some sightings. It is difficult to argue, however, that this can account for all of the sightings reported for centuries all over the world. This type of behavior certainly can't account for the photographs and videos that might depict the creature. Although it's true that many...
That just looked like a gorilla in that one.
Yeah.
That didn't look like Bigfoot at all.
Eyewitnesses might easily be mistaken, the majority of them seem to be completely sincere about what they think they've seen. Sounds of the Bigfoot.
Dad, I just heard something weird. Did you hear that?
Although lesser known than the footprints, video and photographic evidence, Bigfoot vocalization evidence has been an important part of ongoing research efforts. Bigfoot has long been associated with making loud and menacing cries and growls that are sometimes part of a sighting experience. Often the witnesses only hear evidence of the creature and never set eyes on it. Perhaps these sounds that are said to be audio evidence of the creature have become prominent because sounds are easier to capture than visual evidence. Critics would probably argue that the vocalizations are much easier to fake than the video and photographic evidence is. Whatever.
I will admit one thing. If I'm out in the middle of the fucking woods and I hear some kind of howl like that, it would freak me the fuck out.
So on Expedition Bigfoot, there were some screams that they were hearing. So I told Eric, I said, that sounds like a mountain lion. So he pulled up the sound of a mountain lion and it sounded exactly, it sounds like a woman screaming.
Well, yeah, I mean,
so
just a regular cat.
Is what they were thinking was a Bigfoot.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever heard of a regular cat in the middle of the night?
When they're fucking yelling at another cat. Right. This is, if you pull it up to listen to it, like a mountain lion is like terrifying.
Yeah.
So he pulled it up and it's exactly, it was exactly the sound that they were recording.
Yeah. It's
as a Bigfoot.
I like the Bigfoot thing. I think it's interesting. I'm not as skeptical. I know it's weird. I'm not as skeptical about that as I am like alien hybrids. Because I believe in aliens, but I don't know about the hybrid thing. That's just that's dumb. As far as the government, I don't know. I don't know what to think. They could be covering it up. It could all be real, and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, which is probably 99% of the time anyway, because I normally don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but I talk anyway. Some of those videos are really cool. I don't know if they're real. nowadays you can't tell because people will
Right.
take everything and fuck it up.
Right.
So you'll never know the real answer unless Bigfoot comes to your house and knocks on the door.
Or the government releases saying, "Hey, yeah, we have. They're in
Exactly.
protective areas.
Exactly.
They're almost extinct, or they're whatever. They're on a
Right.
list, and you can't touch them." So
That's right. Hey, it was a good show, though, and I'm glad you guys stuck around and listened to us.
Thank
and
you.
we hope we hear you next week saying, hey, this is a fucking cool show. You can tell us that at thedeadtimeradio@gmail.com, or you can go to the website at thedeadtimeradioshow.com. Click on the button that says Become a Patron, and we will see you next week.
Love ya.